Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. Today's episode is really like your pep talk around urgency and what kind of urgency is good urgency, what kind of urgency is bad urgency, when to know that we're kind of pushing it a little bit on the urgency side of things and what to do about it. So it'll be a quickie, but it'll be a juicy. All right. What if I told you to stop working after only 3 hours today? Would you want to slap me? Because you've got like 12 things on your to-do list and that's not even including your client work and your part-time job. Yeah, that is totally valid. I'll just say, having been the person that's cut my 80-hour work weeks down to 20 hours while still getting the important things done, there is a more productive way of working where your life becomes a life again while you still get that incredible sense of accomplishment each week. And that is exactly what I teach you to do inside Work Smart Academy, the productivity membership for online coaches and creative entrepreneurs. And naturally, this lends itself to you living in true work-life balance. So there's a link below to join us, and I cannot wait to see you in there. So here's the thing with urgency, and I find a lot of the time clients come to me with this sense of, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed because I have X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G to do, and I have to do it all before, Friday. And, but I can't even focus on this thing right now because I have to do this thing for this client. This client needs an invoice and I haven't gone through the invoice template yet. I need to actually create a template because this template is old. And then, so I have to do that first. And you can hear in this that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because everything you go to do, there's like a thing before the thing, which of course is going to slow you down no matter what. And then if it's slowing you down, it's no wonder that you're feeling a sense of urgency. Now, it might not necessarily be that there's things before the things, but it might be that you don't have these guardrails up, right? What I've seen a lot is my clients will have a certain standard for themselves, which obviously I'm all about having standards and holding a high standard and all of this, but they'll have this standard for themselves that they have to reply, within an hour to an email or to a DM. I even think it's wild to reply same day. A client of mine actually told me that, and this is kind of the opposite way around, but she was like, oh yeah, I emailed this company to help me with this thing, but they haven't replied yet. So I'm a little bit like concerned, like they probably did they get it? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, right. Well, when did you send the first email? And she was like, oh, it was like, so let's say if today is Friday, it was like Wednesday evening. And I was like, oh, geez, like give them some time. And she was like, what? But like it was 2 days ago. And I was like, well, I wouldn't reply that quick, most likely, to an email. I wouldn't. However, the only reason I have a sense of peace in the fact that I don't reply that quickly is because I have an autoresponder that says like, yeah, I'm in my emails like twice a week. So cool. If there is an emergency, and then in brackets, which is extremely rare in my line of work, here's what you do. Use this number or like reply urgent, and it'll go it'll break through my filter and whatever. So it's just like you have a sense of peace in the knowing that somebody isn't on the other end like my client was with that business that she was dealing with. Because if they had an email responder that said, hey, we will reply within 5 to 7 working days, she wouldn't have any sense of urgency. So you can see that actually, and then like the business on the other side, they reduce their sense of urgency too, especially, if people start following up with you before you are even ready to respond, it just already changes the dynamic. And I know I'm going very deep here on like actually replying to people. That's not only what this refers to, But really, if we look at urgency in business, a lot of it is reactivity. It's basically another term for reactivity. You only have to be reactive if you don't have these simple communication principles and systems in place, like an autoresponder. It could be something that simple. Like if you know that your business hours are X time to X time, X day to X day, you don't feel the need to be panicking about, should I check my email? And your clients on the other side don't have to be panicking about, did they even get that email? Should I follow up? And they're thinking about it. So urgency is essentially reactivity. Same thing if it's like, and I'm using client examples here because of course, but if you've got a client who you are doing some kind of project for, let's say let's say if it was me and I was doing like done for you systems for them. If I don't tell my client my turnaround time, or if they have an expectation that they can request a certain SOP from me today and they'll have it by the end of the day or they'll have it by tomorrow, they will be disappointed because I planned my week last week. This wasn't in here, so it's just not how I work, but it's the expectations. And then if I then felt, oh, well, this client is paying me big bucks, so I have to fulfill this project, then there's a huge sense of urgency for me because everything else I had planned to do that day falls by the wayside. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and get this done as quickly as I can, but I'm also not going to let go of the other work that I planned to do today because it actually has to be done today and it has to be done right now. Now, as I'm explaining these situations, can't you feel that sense of like, ugh, yuck? That feels rotten. It feels very heavy. It's definitely not a fun way to run your business. So that's what I will be urging you to steer clear from. And like I said, there are guardrails you can put up, like a communication policy, like an email autoresponder, that just sets expectations so that A, you don't have to be reactive, and B, your clients or anybody dealing with you, collaborators, anybody, also don't need to be reactive. So, flipping the script a little bit, let's have a look at healthy urgency, because it is possible for there to be healthy urgency, and that is fine. Healthy urgency can actually create a lot of momentum. Like, okay, give an example of this. Let's say you have an idea and it hits you first thing in the morning. You're having your morning coffee. You were about to go like read a personal development book. This is like my kind of morning. But then you're like, oh my God, I've got this idea. It's in my soul. I'm going to go right now and create this. And you just run. It doesn't matter what time of the day. It doesn't matter what day of the week. Maybe it's a Sunday at like 7 p.m. You don't normally work, but you have this idea and you're like, oh, I've got to do this right now. That is a whole other sense of urgency. You can still feel the urgency. It's like, oh my God, I have to do this right now. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. It's a positive side of it. It's really exciting to feel that way about your work. And I actually love when that sense of healthy urgency comes through, because that's when your speed demon productivity comes through and you hit a flow state and things are just coming out like, oh, it's just so good. So we love that. We love the healthy sense of urgency, but also note that there's not necessarily a deadline that came up with that. There's not necessarily, oh my God, this has to be done by tomorrow or else negative consequences, or else a client's going to be pissed off, or else a client's going to stop paying me. This has to be done by tomorrow or else XYZ people are going to leave my membership. This has to be done by tomorrow or else people are going to unsubscribe from my email list. That's not really it. This has to be done ASAP because the world needs this right now because my work is so powerful. Oh, that's such a much better way to be working. Now, I have some things to say about this, but before I do, I kind of want to bring this concept of using urgency to your benefit in, okay? Because this is possible. So I know if you're listening to this, well, you know what? Honestly, I think if you're human, you've probably experienced this, but particularly those who are listening to this podcast, if you've ever felt like You know, those work days where it's like, it's just like the day just feels like a sigh. You're still in your pajamas, even though you got up 3 or 4 hours ago. You haven't brushed your teeth yet. Maybe you've had a coffee, maybe you've had breakfast, but you're still just like, you haven't brushed your hair. And you just feel this incredibly low sense of motivation. And you're just dragging your feet. And like something that would normally take you 10 minutes is taking you 30 minutes. And it's just a slower day. Obviously, a huge first thing here is like the sooner you get dressed and ready for the day in the morning, the more on top of it you're going to be. That's just psychology. Like if you spot yourself in the mirror and you're still like hair scraggly and in your PJs and like, you know what? I am actually I'm going to interject. I'm a big fan of working in your cozies. But there's a different energy to working in your cozies and like intentionally getting into like a lovely cozy thing versus, I don't know, I'm still in the same pajamas. These knickers are from yesterday and I haven't brushed my hair yet and I haven't brushed my teeth and my breath stinks. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you've got makeup on, your hair's done, but you're in your cozies. It's just like a nice way to work versus, I don't know, I feel like a bit of a slob. So on those days, those work days where it's like everything is just slower than normal, I want you to introduce this concept of a timer challenge. And this is something that I've used so many times. It never fails. It never fails. Sometimes you just need to knock yourself into action, right? Like, so here's what the timer challenge is. Normally, I will do this for something like tidying a corner of a room or, you know, it might even be putting on my makeup. It could be something like that. It's one of those things that it doesn't require your brain. It's like monotonous action that you do, but it's not work. So you set a timer for 10 minutes and you give yourself a task of some kind and you challenge yourself to get as much of that task done as possible. So for example, I set a timer for 10 minutes and I go, I'm going to tidy as much of my bedroom as I possibly can in the next 10 minutes. And I turn on the timer and I go and I move and I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not like stopping to go for a wee in the middle of it. I'm like, I'm going to clean as much as possible. There's something that this does to you psychologically where it just flips the switch. It switches you on. It just allows your body to kind of press down on the accelerator and like warm up properly. It's kind of a similar concept to the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. You know, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm up. Like getting out of bed and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I really don't want to get out of bed today. But you know that if you just allow yourself to be in that thought process, you're probably going to be there for another 30, 40 minutes. And then like the day is just going to drag on. And you go, okay, right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you get up. You don't think about it. You just move. Like, don't think, just move. I feel like that's a running theme in the work that I do is don't think, just move. So that is how you use urgency to your benefit, is through something like a timer challenge where it just changes your state from dragging your feet to, okay, I'm up, let's go. And it knocks you into action. So that's a juicy little strategy for you. Now, here's the thing. Back on the urgency side of things. Healthy urgency is only possible when you start at baseline and anything you do is bonus. Anything you do is extra. That's where the juice of creation is. Now, when I say you start at baseline, what I mean is you already start at a level of, I am doing enough, I am good enough, there is no void to fill. Between you and me, this is a great place to be for what you create because you're getting the work done, and the expansion, the hitting and the exceeding of the goals is in the bonus, is in the stuff that you want to do. Like the shoulds and the must do's are already done. You've got extra time and you're like, oh my God, I've got this in myself, let's go. Now, that is like the best way to function. That is the state I want you to get to in terms of like when you reduce your busy work down, when you reclaim hours in your week, when you get more productive and more intentional with what you do versus what you don't do. That's the state you want to get to, where it's like, oh yeah, I've got like a 10 to 15 hour week. It may or may not be that you only work 10 to 15 hours, but you only have to work 10 to 15 hours. The extra space around you is for like the soul, like the passion, the let's go, like the expansion. That said, okay, if urgency is always the way, it's not sustainable. Because then it just starts to feel like catching up. I know some of you listening feel like you can just never catch up with the amount of work that you've got to do. It's likely that you feel like there's just not enough time. Like, how am I meant to get XYZ done? I can't work as fast as my to-do list grows. Why? Like, if you've ever felt like that, like, it's probably making your chest tighten up right now. And I do apologize for that. But I have been there. There is a way through. There is a way out the other side, I promise you. But that is a result of it's the systems, it's the overworking, it's the overcommitting. But really, like, it is not sustainable. And I know that that's not how you want to run your business. So when you start below baseline, which is really what I just alluded to, then it always just feels like you're catching up. You're running. You're doing. You're typing. You are responding. And most importantly, you're spinning your wheels in attempt to fill a void. So to explain this, when I say you start below baseline, ultimately what I mean is you have an underlying belief that either you are not good enough, or your work isn't good enough, or you're expecting people to be looking at you and what you do and say that you're a fraud, or you're expecting them to laugh at your content and your offers, and you're busting your sweet booty in attempt to outwork the possibility that any of that is true. Oh my God, let's give that a sec. If you often find that you overcommit and you overwork, is it possible, and I want you to be so honest with yourself here, is it possible you're busting your ass in attempt to outwork the possibility that you're not good enough? Obviously, you are. I will say that right now. You are more than good enough. Your work is incredible. There is a reason you feel called to do what you do. But potentially there's a mindset thing going on there. This is why a lot of urgency in business doesn't even come from urgency. A lot of urgency comes from this sense of unworthiness in your mindset. Please, if this is resonating, delve into this. Do your journaling on it. Do your EFT tapping on it. Go into it. Do your breath work. Heal it, because it is not the way. And how do you even get out the other side of that? You can't overwork yourself out of the urgency. Something needs to be healed first. Like, it actually doesn't work, because I've been in that cycle before where it's just overwork. You can't work faster than your to-do list grows sometimes. That's a big problem, because then nothing you do ever feels good enough. Even just percentage of workload wise, it just doesn't feel good enough. Like, oh yeah, I got this great 2-3 hours of deep work done, but that's like the tiniest percentage of the actual work that I still have to do. So it doesn't really feel like much of an accomplishment. Ugh, that is such a dagger to the heart. Now, I'm going to share a quote with you here, okay? Because this bad urgency, this negative, like mean monster urgency, is very easily explained by this quote from Liz Wiseman. It's actually become my favorite quote in the past couple of weeks or even months. And it's that stress is created when people are expected to produce outcomes that are beyond their control. So if we think about that, think about any time you've been stressed. Think about any time you've felt a real sense of urgency around your work. Why did that happen? Did that happen because you actually expected yourself to get more done than was physically possible? Or to get better work done than was physically possible considering your emotional state because you've just been through a loss or something along those lines, you know? And this is why I'm such a huge advocate for, like, reduce your task list, add buffer time into your schedule. Like, you have no clue how many people are just not allowing themselves enough time to do what they need to do. It's not all about the to-dos, but think of any time whatsoever in your business where you have felt that intense sense of urgency. Why did that happen? I can almost guarantee you it's because you expected yourself to produce an outcome that was actually beyond your control for one reason or another. So here's the thing. Urgency happens when you are sort of playing bad defense, and it requires you to be more on all the time, even if there's really no need. When I say that, I mean, listen, a lot of us, the kind of businesses we run, The urgency is fake urgency. I know you've heard about fake urgency in marketing. Well, there's fake urgency in productivity too. Does it really need to be done before tomorrow? Let's use an example, because I feel like that's always the best way to explain things. If you get an email from a customer and they are requesting a refund for something and you don't see it, or maybe you do see it, that email comes through on like a Friday at 1 p.m. and you don't reply until like the Tuesday afternoon, is that a problem? Like really, 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 like what is actually created? If for some reason there's like an added fee for them accruing every single day, sure, but also still reversible. Like you could still refund the added fee. The only reason that would even be stressful is if they don't understand that all of it will be refunded. Like, and genuinely, if we think about the kind of work that we do, nothing is really urgent. Like, we're not performing brain surgery here. It's not to say that our work isn't important. It is important, but it's not urgent. Yes, we move, we get incredible ideas, we want to bring them to the world as quickly as we can, but there's never a sense of, oh my God, if this doesn't get done today, there's a problem. There's never a sense of that, and there doesn't need to be. So if I just want this pep talk to be your kind of come to Jesus moment, come to bejesus, and just bring the reality around. Like, is this how you've been running your business? And is it even necessary? I was only reflecting the other day and I was like, you know what? I cannot remember the last time I was actually stressed and overwhelmed. Like, stressed as in, oh shit, I'm not going to get it all done this week. And well, as I say that, I'm like, the summit was probably the closest to that. But even still, I just kept reducing everything else. And, you know, there were elements that I took out of the summit, even just because I was like, I'm just not going to have time for that. Like a discussion panel and like certain games and stuff. But like, for real though, most of the time in my week to week, I just make peace with how much I'm realistically going to get done. And that makes my stress levels way, way, way easier to deal with. In fact, they're almost completely non-existent. So please, like, take that as a lesson. The way I'm teaching you to approach your workload is actually just like, not only will you have less of the negative emotions like stress, overwhelm, anxiety, but you'll have more of the positive emotions like, oh, I'm actually feeling a lot of peace. I'm really enjoying this. I'm feeling a lot of passion and desire with my work. That is fulfillment 101 in business. Okay, I will chat to you next week. I can't wait. Take care. Bye. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at More to Life Kate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you